Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to episode 26 of In the Red Corner. It's been a rough week to be a Red. United got dominated. No, sorry, they didn't get dominated. They dominated and then slipped up to a draw. Liverpool were comprehensively beat. No excuses there. And it's dry February. This is a deadly combination altogether. It's a grim week to be a Red. So joining me to avoid talking about football at any costs, as always, is Mr. Grant Winstanley. How are we, sir?
Fantastic, mate. Let's get right on with the UFC and let's get out of here.
Our beats on this afternoon.
How are you, mate?
Yeah, good. Very good. Despite what's going on in the world of being a Liverpool or a United fan, I'm doing pretty well because Melbourne's beautiful sunny weather. And there is still good UFC on. So, we've got positive things to talk about.
That's it.
It's my opening question this week. Okay. So I'm going to recite a quote for you, actually. I saw this week. I know you like a good quote, so I thought...
yeah.
Winston Churchill once described Russia as a riddle wrapped in a mystery inside an enigma. If I was describing a UFC fighter, current UFC fighter right now, who would I be describing? With a riddle.
Nate Diaz.
Oh, he's got it. He's only got it. I was really hoping you wouldn't get that. Brilliant. Yeah. You're describing Nate Diaz. And
strange bloke.
The reason I bring it up is because he's done an interview yesterday, with Ariel Helwani, which I listened to on my way to work this morning. And it's absolutely fascinating. When you start to listen to him, at first you think, he's off his head. He can't articulate what he wants to say in a way that, I don't know, someone who's a bit more media, whether it be McGregor or whatever, can articulate what he wants to say.
Yeah.
But what he's saying, when you can understand what he's saying, makes so much sense.
Right, okay.
He's been in this game a very long time. And although part of me thinks with him that he thinks a lot of himself, he puts himself on a very high pedestal, he's able to, in his own little weird way, kind of justify the way that he feels about it. Have you seen the interview with him this morning?
I've not. No. Tell me about it.
When Ariel's trying to talk about who he wants to fight next, he says that, probably the correct names, Dustin Poirier, Charles Oliveira, and then Ariel kind of asks, so you're coming down to 55? And he's like, no, I'm not fighting at 55, fighting at 170. And then, hang on, but these two lads, these names you're calling out here, are in the 55 title picture.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not coming to 155, but they're the ones I want to fight. That's who I need to fight next. I want to fight winners and all this kind of stuff. And he justifies it, He hasn't got the best record and he kind of acknowledges that. But the way he gets around it is that I think he's got 11 losses, but all of his losses generally come by close decisions, a lot of which could have gone either way, i.e. McGregor's, could have gone either way. There were stoppages, doctor stoppages, Masvidal fight, doctor stoppage. He's never been kind of, the way he described it, I've never been knocked out cold, never been to sleep, aside from the Josh Thompson head kick, never been choked out, all that kind of stuff. So he justifies it if all these guys have all been finished, all been asleep. I'm tough, I'm game, I'm here to fight, and I deserve to fight winners. And in his own weird warped kind of sense, it does make a lot of sense, and he justifies it, and you can tell that he's out there and he wants to fight the best, which is fair enough. But I think he also needs to play ball a little bit. He needs to, if he wants to fight these names, those guys are down to 55. And I've already seen today Poirier saying that he's interested in something about a fight is closer to his natural weight or something. And I'm like, you're coming in and you're wrecking this lightweight picture here. Yeah. He also describes the 155. It's a dead division. He says it's a dead division. They've all. He doesn't know who Michael Chandler is. He admired Hooker. He just thinks there's nothing there for him. Khabib's running, nothing in that division for him. And then he says, Ariel puts towards in the 170 kind of challenge. Oh, so you want to challenge at 170? And he's like, yeah, no one excites me at 170. No one's any good in that division. Who are they? They've only been here 5 minutes, referencing Usman, Burns, all that kind of stuff. And you're just thinking, wow, it's absolutely mad. And it just got me thinking with him, what does he do? What would you do next with him? If you were Dana White, what do you do with Nate Diaz?
He has to fight 155. He has to fight 155, in my opinion. And I don't know why Poirier is interested, because
Well, the fight's been there before for them, hasn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, it fell off.
I know.
Was it like back end of, not last year, the year before?
Yeah. But he's so close. I know he was the interim champion, but he was always in Khabib's shadow. Everyone in that division's always been in Khabib's shadow. So if this is now the time to finally get your hands on the belt, if you want to play around at 170 with Diaz and have one fight, that's fine. But then you can't kick off. Let's say if Conor McGregor stays and leapfrog you can't kick off. Otherwise,
no, you're right.
And for Diaz to be saying 170, they've been here 5 minutes, and it's a dead division. Masvidal pieced you up, mate.
I know.
And you can say,
but he was saying he didn't finish him.
Yeah, I know, but I think the doctor did him a favour because it was only going one way for me.
Yeah, he did.
He was pieced up.
I'd love to see that fight again. You know, because there's the argument there that Nate, you know, comes strong in the later rounds. I don't think he would have got anything out of that fight. But hey, there's the argument there, and it was an interesting fight.
But you can't always say that because ask Calvin Cater, did he think Max Holloway is normally a slow starter?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
It is really mad. I don't know what they're doing next week, but I just see there's a lot of people saying no, and it brings you onto that lightweight division at the minute where there's people slipping up for me. Oliveira turning down fights. I know it's on short notice, and I know you deserve to fight for the belt, but you've got to play the cards you dealt. We mentioned last week. Yeah. You've got to play the cards you dealt in that division at the minute. You can't say no. Can't say no because you get overlooked. Then someone else is going to come up, and all it takes is someone else in that circle to get a win. So now, apparently Oliveira he turned down a fight with Chandler, which was supposed to be. It was short notice, yes, but I mean Chandler's just fought, and he said turn that down. If they don't make a fight now between with Oliveira in it, if they don't make the Oliveira Poirier fight, which it seems unlikely at this point, they're going to probably do Chandler Gaethje. The winner of that jumps Oliveira straight away. You can't. It's hard because yes, you've justified.
Yeah.
You should be fighting for the title. I know that you should be fighting for the title, 100%. But you've got to make the fights, and if timing doesn't work out or you're saying no and you get overlooked, you're easily forgotten pretty quick, aren't you?
Yeah.
If Chandler comes through and like starches Gaethje, for instance, he gets the title shot next. Oliveira's down the pecking order again. He's going to fight somebody else.
Yeah.
Your time is now. You have to take it.
And if you put it back to put it into the football world, we know that Manchester City are in the driving seat, and the way that they're going, they probably deserve the title.
Yep.
But they've still got to play 38 games.
Yeah,
you don't get the title now.
You don't get it because you deserve it. You get it. You have to win it.
You go. Whether you've got COVID, whether you've got 10 players out, whether you got to play a game.
Yeah.
And you got to go, and you got to.
And coming back to Diaz, that's where. Yeah, he wants to fight. He wants to fight these top names and stuff. But if you've got Oliveira or Poirier now that go away and fight Diaz at 70, for instance, because they're chasing the money, the big name. Yes, it'll be a big fight. Yes, I will 100% watch it. But you're no longer in that 155 title picture, are you? Because somebody else, Michael Chandler's going to saunter through and be like, be days. See you later, lads. I'll take that belt. No worries.
Yeah.
And then you're out. You can't say you're here for gold. Poirier, I'm here for gold. That's it. Oh, Nate Diaz. Oh yeah. It's one or the other. And I don't mind which one he picks.
But you got to make your bed.
But you make your bed. Which one do you want? Do you want to fight? Just want to do name fights at 170, jumping around weight classes, whatever. But then you're not in the title picture. If you want to do that, totally cool. I'm totally cool with that. Make some money. That's fine. But then don't say I'm only going for gold.
Yeah, I know.
You're not. No, you're not.
And the thing with Nate Diaz, what I think he doesn't help himself is he's very inactive. So for me, if Diaz never fight, I want to see Nate Diaz fight again. Of course I do, and so does every other UFC fan. But if Nate Diaz says I'm retiring tomorrow, nobody would care.
No,
because
I don't think
so if
you won't miss him because he's not here.
Well, exactly. So he can talk about there's no one dead division and all this, but it's like, mate, these are now fighting for the belt. So either get in this tournament, and put your name in there.
In the 55 tournament.
Like, this is a perfect call out after this interview. That is a perfect call out for Michael Chandler to say, you think I'm an unknown?
Yeah.
Well, I want to fight the OG. I'm new. I've been here 5 minutes.
I'll show you who I am.
I'm the unknown. So if you're
exactly
unknown, so here's the call
and
out.
Diaz has got everything to gain at 155 as well. If you think, he thinks he's as good as he is, which he might well be. If he comes in and fights a name in that division and wins, he's straight in the title shot. Straight there. And you've got Conor fishing around. He's very complimentary of Poirier and Oliveira, really. Just doesn't want to do 55, and I don't know why that is. Obviously, he's a big bloke.
But didn't he say about...
He said originally,
Exactly.
So I don't know what's gone on there. Whether he was adamant on the podcast that he was not coming to 55. People would have to come to him. It's just all very contradiction. He speaks in circles and in middles, and deep down there, he makes a lot of sense, and some of his points are very valid. But it's just a bit of a mystery, and he says he wants to fight minimum 2 times this year, maximum 4. Great. I want to see you fight. And it's the same. Conor says the same thing. They all want to be active, but then if the money's not right, or the matchup's not right, or the time's not right, they say no, or they don't do it.
Exactly.
And then they disappear again, and you just want to see actions, don't you? Yeah. You know, Diaz is amazing. He's great to watch. He's a big name, he's a spectacle, but he's done nothing over the last, I don't know, 3 years to make me think that he is, you know, a championship contender. And you can't just go off I'm one of the old guard, I'm one of the old dogs or whatever. You can't. You can only live off that for so long before it's just like, actually, what did you do?
Yeah,
exactly. I don't really remember anymore. Like you said, if he retired tomorrow, people would be like, oh, okay, I'm not going to miss you.
No.
I'd love to see him fight, but I don't know, and I don't know who he mixes it up with at 170. If it's not one of those 55ers and he does stay at 70,
exactly.
I don't know who I'm putting him in with, really.
Yeah, I think that's his. I think 155 is his best shot at a belt.
Oh, for sure.
And so you can't say it's a dead division. It's like, all right, well, the match is made now. Fight Chandler, and the winner will probably be in the title picture. Yeah. So show us, because at 170 you can talk about they've been here 5 minutes, but you ain't beating Usman.
Yeah.
You ain't beating Masvidal. You ain't beating Colby Covington.
No, it's just going to take you down.
And you're also not beating Chimaev. So be careful.
Yeah.
Because if you're moaning about that division, you're next.
Yeah, exactly.
You know
They'll throw you to the lions.
Do you know what I mean? So
the one that makes sense to me, for me, he should come in and fight Tony Ferguson. Introduce 155 introduction. You beat Ferguson, you're instantly in that top 5 picture. You've then got a host of names: Poirier, Oliveira, Conor. They're all there, but you probably have to just get through with Ferguson first, which I think he probably would. Yeah. And there's two OGs there, two Ultimate Fighter. What do you call them? Alumni. Makes a lot of sense to me. He poo-pooed that idea on the podcast. He was like, "Nah, timing's not right." I don't know why, but anyway. If they want to do that at 170, I wouldn't be. If he wants to fight 170 and Ferguson goes to 170, I wouldn't be mad at that.
Do you know when he wants to fight then? Like next month?
Yeah, he said April, May. But who knows who's going to be?
Chandler will have it.
Yeah, Chandler will.
That's the fight for me.
Chandler's riding the wave at the minute, isn't he? He's the next big thing in weighting, isn't he? He just needs to keep. He needs to keep up that momentum, and he knows that, which is why he said yes to the Oliveira fight. Which, most people will be like, that's a bit soon, innit? But he was like, you've got to ride this wave. He's doing the right things. He knows how to play the game. And he's very dangerous in that division now. Yeah. I'm interested to see how it plays out, but that was how it went this morning. I'd recommend going listen to the interview. Anyone who's interested in, I don't know, seeing the mind of someone who's knows the game inside out, but finds it hard to articulate and
not me.
But he's a very interesting person, and someone who has the potential to be, or is a star, but has the potential to be a big star if he just starts saying yes and just starts fighting. That's what I want to think. I guess that moves us on. Likely, we might as well go straight into the UFC for this weekend. Pay-per-view event. It's not a stacked card, I wouldn't say. We sometimes find these pay-per-view events have got a good main card and it drops off a little bit, a few names on there, but. Obviously, the main event, the headline, is a really interesting matchup for a lot of reasons. I mean, primarily, it's a welterweight title fight that we should have had before. Dropped out, didn't it? It was supposed to be the opener for Fight Island, wasn't it? Yeah. When would it have been? When would it have been? July, yeah. Would have been the opener for Fight Island, obviously.
Burns got
COVID, didn't he? Yeah, and Masvidal stepped up. Usman won with, relative ease there, I suppose. But now we've got it again.
Yeah. Well, it should have been happening December 12th.
Why did that one drop out?
Was it an injury? I think it was some Usman saying, like, I need more time.
It was a bit weird, wasn't it?
Weird.
Yeah, they never really said. But in the embeddeds and the build up to this one, they haven't really referenced that. They've just talked about the first one. I wonder if the UFC have asked them to push it back a bit for that. I'm not sure why.
So, and then that's obviously when I got excited. I lost my bet to Ryan. Ryan, if you're listening, you're welcome, mate. And I thought Conor was going to be on. I thought Conor Poirier was going to be on that December 12th, but nope. I had to get my wallet out and pay for a meal. So
nice
thanks, Dana. Always appreciate that.
It's also interesting because these are teammates. These have trained together for years, sparred together for years. They're now at different teams. But, you'd say they were very closely matched in terms of a matchup. This is a really intriguing matchup. And for me, it has the ability to be one of those fights that's absolute fireworks, incredible, or dull as dishwater because they both cancel each other out. I don't know which way it's going to go. Because the interesting thing is that they do know each other inside out. They've sparred. There was a really interesting, I don't know if you listened to the Helwani and DC podcast
about
this
Cormier's comment with Velasquez.
Yep. And who's the other one? Rashad Evans and John Jones. He was saying that going into... So DC said he knew at heavyweight he wouldn't beat Cain Velasquez. They weren't going to fight because the friendship and all that kind of stuff and teammates. But he knew, I don't win that fight. Rashad Evans and John Jones were teammates at Jackson Wink. Rashad Evans, going into that fight, knew he had no chance against John Jones. One of these two knows that I'm not going to win here. And I thought that was a really interesting mindset. Yeah. You can't go into a fight thinking that, but deep down, in the sparring sessions, one of them's got the better of the other more times than not, and one of them knows it, and so does the other one. And how fascinating is that to have that mindset of going in and just be like, fuck, I've come up short against this guy so many times. Yeah. I do know him, and yes, I can train around it, but in the back of my mind, I know he's had the best of me, and I don't know which way it goes. What do you think before I embellish any more? What interests you about it, this matchup?
I like Burns' skill set.
Yep.
I love his skill set. And I think this is the closest test we've got to Usman getting dethroned.
Yeah, I agree. And
that's no disrespect to Kobe, no disrespect to Masvidal, but just there's something about that well-roundedness of Burns, the black belt,
he's got power in his hands as well. He's not just
exactly.
a jiu-jitsu guy.
And he's shown what he did to Woodley.
Yep.
And I know Woodley's not the.
Well, they both pieced Woodley up, didn't they?
Yeah.
I'd piece Woodley up at this point.
Well, yeah, I suppose. So, I'm intrigued by it, but I think head over heart is when we was doing our predictions for champions and different things, I still had Usman at the end of the year, so I can't go against that. And I'm going to say Usman will get the job done through a decision somehow, but I just don't know how he does that.
I think the other interesting point with this one as well, when you look at Usman, obviously he's had to move camps because of the whole teammate situation, but he's now working with Trevor Whitman, which again, I think we both really rate Trevor Whitman as a coach. He's with Rose, he's with Justin Gaethje. Now Usman is sparring day to day with Justin Gaethje. Now there's someone who's going to put you to your paces, who's going to come at you, which is the way that probably Burns is going to do. He's going to have to be in his face, front foot. He's training with people like Curtis Blades, big bloke, so he's used to having that pressure on him. I think being around that team elevation, Overeem, his trains there as well, being around that team elevation, different look, different ideas. You'd like to think that he's going to come with something that Burns maybe hasn't seen or isn't used to, which would be the idea of going somewhere else. We know what you're capable of, Usman, but let's do something a bit different that he's not expecting. With Usman, and like you said, he's very dominant, and he fights to win in the same way that Tyron Woodley did in his pomp.
Yeah, just get the job done.
Plays it safe, not particularly exciting. It's why he's not a massive pay-per-view star. It's why he's not as big a star as his skill set probably deserves to be. He's a dominant champion.
Yeah.
But he's not as explosive and exciting as
entertaining.
Entertaining is the word.
Yeah.
He isn't that. But, and there's two arguments in that we want to see explosive fights, but if you're the champion, you want to keep hold of your belt.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he does, and he wins every time. He does what is necessary. And I think Burns is going to know that. Yeah. Burns is going to have to bring the fire to Usman if he wants to win. Because I think Usman's capable of grappling, controlling, nullifying him, and he'll catch him if he can, because he's got power in his hands. They both do.
Yeah.
I think it's really on Burns to bring it to Usman. Can he finish him?
Yeah.
And with Usman, it's can I control the fight and take an opportunity to finish it if it presents itself? If not, I just control and win on points.
And do the foot stomps.
Yeah. That's hold him against the fence, grapple, dominate. Can I do that? Yeah. The question is, the levels of grappling, where do they match up, BJJ and wrestling? It's a really interesting matchup, and like I said, it's got the ability to be a absolute barnstormer. If Burns is able to put Usman on the back foot, force him out of his comfort zone, force him out of that rhythm of control. If he's able to do that, you're going to see something different from Usman, and you might see fireworks, but it could be dull as dishwater where they both, leg hump and grapple each other for 5 rounds.
Yeah, and I think it's worth noting as well, one thing that people don't talk about with Usman, not say underrated, but he can take a shot.
Yes.
His chin.
Yep.
Is probably...
I haven't seen him rocked, have you?
No. And you look at the war that he had back and forth with him and Kobe.
Great fight.
Some of the shots he was taking, both of them. Yep. Both of them taking them.
Yep.
And I just think, I wonder, Burns obviously knows he can take a shot. Is Burns' method of victory via submission to try and get something, try and get him on the ground or trip him up.
I think that's where the levels differentiate. You know, that's where they probably got striking's probably an equal playing field. Like you say, good chin, can both wrestle. Strong. It might be on the ground, on his back. What can Usman do? What can Burns do? That might be the difference if he can get himself to that position.
Yeah, exactly.
I think if I was Burns, that's where I'd be looking for the fight to take place. But I think he's got to make it he's got to take Usman out of his comfort zone. He's going to have to crack him with something, that he's not expecting, in order to take him down and get on top in that position.
Yeah, definitely.
Could be great, could be terrible. It's really hard.
Yeah, I'm going to say Usman decision.
Yeah,
and it's going to be similar strikes, similar. I think it's going to be a close fight, but I think it'll just be octagon control. Kind of dictating and controlling the fight up against the fence. It's going to be that kind of technical UFC stuff, which maybe they don't kind of judge on that anymore, but that stuff that you go, just Usman. Every round it's kind of close and you go,
probably
maybe Usman.
My heart would love the upset. Would love to see Burns just shock the world. Because I don't like, it sounds a bit bad this, but I don't like seeing two dominant champions. I like the belt to move around. I like the interest and intrigue of different matchups. So I would love Usman to lose this belt. Nothing against Usman, but I would just like to see it. He's had it for a little while. But if you got your sensible head on, I agree. I think he just does what he needs to do to win the fight. And then we all come away being like, I wasn't as good. I wasn't as good as I thought. But then fair enough. Fair play to Usman. He did his job, kept his belt. What do you want? Elsewhere on the card, co-main event, we see the return of Maycee Barber. I'd forgotten who. I remember the last fight where she blew a knee out. She did her ACL, didn't she? And survived the 3 rounds, lost the decision. It was Roxanne Modafferi.
Yeah.
And I watched the fight and I couldn't think who it was.
Yeah.
Roxanne beat her, which was mad, wasn't it? Because
Roxanne.
you'd have bet your house on Maycee Barber coming into that because she, real hot prospect, youngster coming through, had been super dominant. And I think the big question in this fight is how she recovered from that knee surgery. Yeah. It was a big test against Alexa Grasso. We watched her recently fight, what's her face, Kim, the Korean girl, I think.
I think it was.
Kim or something like that. Pieced her up, great Mexican boxer, that traditional Mexican boxing style. Really, really good. And this is 2 young up-and-coming prospects in that division. I think this is going to be a great fight. It's going to be a really great fight.
In my opinion, I don't think the UFC has done Maycee Barber any favours.
If they're trying to build her, no.
Because Roxanne Modafferi obviously won and looked, good against Maycee Barber, but I think a lot of that.
Got one leg.
It's a bit like the old, people are scrabbling for the whole Sean O'Malley, Marlon Beer excuse. It's kind of like, the leg. So, and that was a similar thing with her. Like I think it was early in the second or something.
She went a good while with one leg.
Yeah. That was a shock that she got the win. But I just feel, obviously the injury, like you say, how any lasting effects, how is she? But I think Alexa Grasso is a higher level opponent than Roxanne, and she's also fought higher level opponents and got some good victories on her resume.
Yep, I agree.
Which is obviously from the UFC side, say, well, we're trying to build this girl. Let's see if she can mix with the best of them. Yep. But like I say, they've not done her any favours. No. So I'm going to lean for Grasso.
Yeah, I think Grasso mainly because of activity. She fought really well. Like I said, it's a question of Maycee's got the ability to beat her. She's got the power. She's got that aggression. She's got the kind of well-rounded skill set. Yeah. But I think that traditional boxing style, if they decide to, if this fight takes place on the feet, which I imagine it probably will, I think Alexa's probably got the beating over there. Yeah.
And maybe she comes into this, Alexa Grasso, with that chip on her shoulder of slight disrespect there. Oh, this young up-and-comer off a loss. Yeah, you think she's good enough now to mix with me? Yeah. Type of thing, It could be a test. It's a bit of a test. And all the talk will be on Maycee returning. And so it's kind of a bit like, what are anyone tuning in for?
It's one of those crossroads fights, isn't it? The winner of this goes on, gets kind of in the rankings and starts to compete. The other one has to take a step back and it needs a couple more wins before they get there. Yeah, it's a question of whether Maycee's ready after the knee surgery.
And no disrespect to the females, but I don't think there's a co-main in a pay-per-view, by the way, this fight.
No, I'm not. Yeah, Maycee Barber's got the name, and that's the reason it's probably happening. It shows probably the strength of the card on the whole, really, doesn't it? Because then you look to the fight before this, which again on paper is interesting, but it's a guy that's on a 3-fight skid in Kelvin Gastelum fighting Ian Heinisch, who's, I don't think he's in the top, he's probably maybe ranked about 15, something like that.
15. Yeah. And get on.
Kelvin Gastelum, it wasn't that long ago, really, that we were here in Melbourne waiting to watch him fight for the World Championship against Rob Whittaker.
Yeah.
Obviously it didn't go ahead, but since then, the fall from grace has been incredible, hasn't it? He did have the incredible, and this is what's weird, he took Izzy into real deep waters. Izzy Adesanya, who's now middleweight champ, real dominant, just looks incredible, walking through everyone, about to fight for the light heavyweight. Kelvin Gastelum pushed him further than anyone, probably. But then he got outpointed by Till. He got submitted by Hermansson.
Very quickly.
Yeah, and one more loss as well. He's on a 3-fight skid.
Yeah,
Izzy's the other one, isn't it? Sorry, yeah. He just didn't look great. The Hermansson one lasted, what? A minute?
30 seconds.
Yeah.
30 seconds, probably.
And he didn't have an answer for Till's kind of smart striking game, didn't he? I think he's one of those. He's always had trouble with his weight. And I watched the first Embedded episode. I don't know if you've seen it.
No,
he's in an ice bath, and I just thought,
tough weight cut ahead.
Yeah, very tough weight cut ahead. Didn't look in shape for me. He's got a tough weight cut ahead. But then on the other side, he's got a really strong team. That King's MMA. In fact, there's so many big names there, coached by that Rafael Cordero. It's a great team, and you think they would, have him in shape. He's got the skills. He's got the boxing skills. He's got a wrestling background, really fast hands. Look what he did to Michael Bisping, power in his hands. So he's got everything. It's just, he's another one of these riddles in a conundrum, in a whatever I said before.
Enigma.
Yeah. Just, I don't know where he's at all. And this is where we find out, because he's fighting Ian Heinisch, rank 15, real interesting backstory, in bloody prison for drug smuggling or whatever. Came through the Contender Series, I think. Bit of a wrestling background as well, but known as a boxer, a bit of a striker. Got some, a few wins together. But you'd think that he's fighting way above his level, fighting Gastelum. We're about to find out, eh? I don't know. I don't know. Where do you think Gastelum sits in that division now? Is he Ian Heinisch's level, or has he just been put there to get him back on a bit of a better trajectory?
Yeah. The opposite to the co-main, the UFC are doing Gastelum a favour.
Yeah.
They're doing him a favour.
Yeah.
Now, Gastelum, when we was in Melbourne, he was building, his stock was rising a little bit through not fighting, and it was building through playing the bad guy persona. Yep. He was reminding me very much of a bigger Henry Cejudo.
Yeah, he was the same team, weren't they? The same team.
If you remember, at the stadium, he was walking around with the belts.
Oh, yeah.
If you remember.
I remember that. Yeah, we were like, what are you doing?
What are you doing? And he's not fighting.
Yeah. He just took the belt, didn't he?
And that bad guy image was, and his stock was rising. 3 losses on the bounce. When we was talking before Christmas about the UFC cuts, one comment I made was that if Gastelum didn't have a fight booked, which he did against Ian Heinisch, I would be very worried if I am him. And I'm still very worried for him. Because a 3-fight skid on good money. Yep. Look at Yoel Romero. Yeah, you're on the highway to Bellator, aren't you? He has to. He has to win this fight. He has to win. Which is why I was really surprised when I saw him on Embedded, and I just thought, you don't look in great shape. He's a funny shape, isn't he? Because he's kind of squat. Very square. He's very square. He's got he's got a square upper body. He's got big broad shoulders, but then a tiny kind of waist, but then big belly. I don't know. He's a weird shape. Yeah. And maybe that doesn't help him. He doesn't make his weight cuts any easier. Like, to think he's fought as a welterweight is mad as well. And obviously struggled with the weight cut there. I'd like to think his skill levels get him through Ian Heinisch. If it doesn't, he's in big trouble. Yeah, he's not got a future in the UFC. No. But I think he should have enough. Yeah. I think he should have enough. I think so. I'm going to predict second round KO. Yeah. It has to be a statement, doesn't it? It has to be like I've not gone anywhere. I've got my shit together. Yeah. Get me back in that top 10. Get me back in and amongst
competition.
The reason why I've said second round and not first round is I think he knows what's on the line and the pressure.
Don't rush it.
And I think the first round will be, relax, Kelvin. You can do this. You know, and then get through that first round, get on the stool, and then for a little voice in his ear from his coach to say, "Come on, mate.
Now, do it." Yeah.
And he'll come out that stool and go, right, let's finish this.
Yeah, you need to see that the Kevin Gastelum that fought Izzy Adesanya is a competitor in that division.
Mm-hmm.
The one we've seen since then isn't.
No. And
he's got to find that guy again.
Yeah.
On the prelims, the one that I picked out was the Bilal Muhammad and Diego Lima. I'm guessing that's Douglas's brother. You know, who fights in Bellator.
I think it is.
Looks very like him. Both on 3-fight win streak. So again, it's a bit of one of those crossroads. I think, are these welterweights? Yeah, these are welterweights, aren't they? A bit of a crossroads fight for both of them. One kicks on, the other one doesn't. Both got similar records in terms of who they fought. No one massive. I saw that Bilal Muhammad's 3-fight win streak, but his last loss was Jeff Neal. You know, who's up there in the upper realms of the division. So no kind of shame in that one. He's highly touted as well, and you know, people really do rate him. I don't know which way this is going to go, but I just think it's going to be an interesting fight. I think the hype seems to be around Bilal Muhammad.
I agree.
I think he's got the skill set to probably get one over on Diego Lima, but again, he's got the experience, so who knows what happens on the night with this one. Safe
to say I'm leaving this one off my multi.
Yeah, I have no idea which way this goes.
But what I will say is I think there's a bit of disrespect there with Lima, because I'm pretty sure the sports bet are paying over $3.
Really?
Nearly $3 for Lima. I think it's a bit disrespectful.
And I think if we're saying, I don't really know how this is going to go, not that we're experts in this, but to be... if we're unsure and they're paying $3, it means that people are buying into the hype of Bilal Muhammad.
Yeah.
I'm saying Bilal Muhammad because I'm buying into the hype of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's worth $3, so that might be worth a bit of money.
Yeah.
If you're looking for an outside win there, because Lima's got every chance in that fight. Every chance.
And just another little thing on the prelims is I'm pretty sure the headline prelim is Jim Miller versus Bobby Green.
Yes.
And my prediction on that one is I think the wily old veteran will get the win.
Right.
Via submission.
Okay.
He's got 18 submission victories, Jim Miller, in his career.
And he's fought the who's who, eh?
Yeah, he's fought the who's who. He lost a decision to Vince Pichel. Pichel. However, the one before was Roosevelt Roberts, who people were high on. Yep. And he kind of stopped that hype train, similar to Bobby. I like Bobby Green. Yep. But similar thing.
He's another one who's done well in COVID, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Consistent.
Yeah. And Jim Miller stopped the Roosevelt Roberts hype train via submission.
Yep.
And I'm predicting the exact same thing for the wily old veteran.
Awesome. Love it.
So there we go.
I guess we should have a quick look back at last week as well. It was a rough week for the veterans. We were talking about veterans last week, weren't we? And whether it was, whether it was time for them to kick on, whether they still got it. I guess starting with the main event, Overeem. I think we were texting each other through the fight, weren't we? And, Overeem was getting a bit pieced up, but I was like, he's done this before where he does the shell and he lets the other guy work, and then he comes at them later on. He's a veteran. He's been through 5 rounds before. He tends to let the other guy work, and that's what I thought he was doing. And literally, as I sent the text, that the jab went straight through his shell and snapped his nose in two, and instantly you saw it was the beginning of the end, wasn't it? The shelling up didn't work against the sheer power of Volkov, who looks a lot bigger, I might add, than we've seen him previously, than when he fought kind of Derek Lewis and those guys. He looks a lot bigger, and the power, he was swinging hooks, round the shell, and then he was going straight through the middle with jabs. Overeem wasn't in it, was he? He didn't get a chance to do anything really, and that his defense just didn't hold up. Is that the end of the run for Overeem?
No, I think they'll give him. I think we'll see him again. I think he'll.
But he's going nowhere near a title.
No. I think he'll probably admit that dream's over now, and I think he'll just want one more
for the road
as a veteran, one for the road to get the win, and then take off the gloves and go, thank you. Yeah, it's all been good.
Hopefully the UFC can match him up nicely with someone that he can, let's have a good scrap with and call it a
day. As you know, that cost me my multi.
Yes.
And I was actually, when I was putting the multi on the night before, I thought, sports bet, nothing. I'm like, Overeem is the underdog for the fight. I'm like, I'll have a bit of this, and I bet it. And Whoever does the MMA market at Sportsbet clearly knows more than me in my heavyweights, because that is the best Volkov I have ever seen. And I don't know whether I've been kind of disrespectful, or he's kind of like, Russian, you kind of overlook, not say that, but you kind of overlook him in terms of the other kind of heavyweights with like personality and kind of getting those fights. And then, like you say, the cage door shuts, they're opposite each other, and I'm like, 6'7" bloke, he looks about 7 foot. And I think a bit of that was, over him as well, thinking, I bet he's got in there and he's gone, whoa, this guy is big. Let's cover up and we'll figure out on the fly what I do with him.
Straight through it, didn't he?
And it was just, it was unbelievable. So,
I think him versus the winner of Cyril Gane and Rosenstrike's probably the next fight, isn't it? As they sort themselves out below the John Jones kind of conundrum.
So, terrible back tattoo, but impressive fight.
It was terrible.
It's a terrible tattoo, that, isn't it?
I think I texted you that, didn't I? First impressions of the fight. What's that tattoo?
It's shocking.
In the co-main, another veteran fell fucking devastatingly. Sandhagen's a real deal, isn't he? We questioned it a little bit when he got to the top of the division, and he obviously had an off night against Aljo, and he's come back since and sparked people. Two kind of, one head kick, devastating knockout, one flying knee, devastating knockout. He didn't even seem pleased with himself. He seemed kind of sad that he'd done it to Frankie Edgar, because Edgar never really got chanced, did he? He was moving around well, and he looks okay at that division, but at his age now, and after, that takes a bit of recovering from, because he was like out cold, like dead out cold.
Stiff as a board.
He won't fight again for a while. Time's not on his side. I think it's another one of those where it's one for the road. Yeah. You're going nowhere near this.
Hopefully there's fans, maybe.
Yeah, and they deserve that, but unfortunately, he's been a champ, but he's going nowhere near this bantamweight champ. No. What I will say about Sandhagen is there's a blueprint there now. He's different. He's built different to the other people in that division. He's long, skinny, lanky. The other guys are a bit more muscle-based, smaller. That's two small guys now that he's knocked out, devastating with his legs, with his leg kick and knees. If you're Piotr Jan, or if you're Sandhagen, you're looking at Jan and being like, I'm going to do exactly the same to you. There's a blueprint for him to do that now. Yeah. He causes a problem because he's not like your average guy in that division. Yeah. Aljo's similar. He's a similar build, but probably not quite as tall. He has to get the winner of that now, right?
Yeah, and it's not just the opponent, as you say, hard to fight. Those types of guys with the body type, they're hard to find sparring partners for.
Yep. How do you mimic him?
How do you mimic Sandhagen?
Yeah.
How many people like Dominic Cruz, the way he moves, like, how do you mimic that?
Yeah, you can't.
You can't mimic that. So, I'm a fan of Sandhagen. I have been for a little while. I think the best thing that has happened to him is the embarrassing loss by Sterling, because, and he's admitted himself, he's a different beast.
Yeah, it's focused him in now.
It's really kind of lit that fire under him. And I think, although I can guarantee if he said, you've done Marai, you've done Edgar, you like your small guys, who do you want? He'd go, I don't want Jan. I want to avenge and win the belt. Yeah. And what a story you can build for him to come back, beat Sterling for the title.
Yeah.
That's Rocky stuff.
Yeah, I think Jan's probably an easier fight for him.
Yeah.
Again, because Jan's that kind of, he's the boxer, isn't he? Yeah. If someone in that style, that's what Marais was really. You don't get near Sandhagen. Yeah. He's got these long legs. He's just going to keep throwing these leg kicks and knees at you. I'm not sure Piotr Jan gets to him. And that's where the difference with Aljo's a much sterner test, isn't he? Because he's of a similar type. He's got the stronger ground game, so he's going to happy to get up tight and take to the floor. It's a different game. I think if Jan does beat Aljo, I think Sandhagen would beat Jan, personally. Yeah. But that's really interesting. And feel bad for Frankie Edgar, I don't know what's next for him. Again, it might be another veteran fight, whether it's like a Dominic Cruz or Aldo maybe, someone like that. Someone, again, wait till fans. If I was Dana White, I'd be like, wait till fans come back. Have a break, rest your brain. Yeah. We'll get you another fight, and then you can call it a day. Dariush, Ferreira. We were saying this was going to be our fight of the night, and they deliver every single time, both of them. Dariush got the win, deservedly. I thought. I thought he definitely edged that fight. He's good everywhere, isn't he? And now I want to see him tested. I want to see him within that top 10, top 8, give him some on there.
Yeah.
But, obviously not straight in with the top guys, but
Yeah.
give him another test. I don't know who that is at the minute. And you've got to take your hat off. He's the nicest guy in the world, isn't he? He had his platform there to call out anyone he wanted. He could have called out McGregor. He could have called out anyone he wanted, and instead he used it to give a plug for his teammate. He's a good guy, and at least he's consistent with it. He doesn't just take the opportunity to this is my time. He is who he is, and he might never be the big star because of that, because he isn't self kind of promoting.
Yeah.
But when the octagon door shuts, he's there to fight. He's so good.
Yes, I love Dariush. I think he's brilliant.
Yeah.
And for me, he comfortably won at least 2 rounds out of 3. Like, definitely for me. That's like...
Was it a 30-27 in the end?
Well...
I can't remember what the score
one
was.
judge give it Ferreira.
That's right,
I was like, how?
What was he watching?
How can you give that to fit him?
Yeah.
In my opinion,
No,
Dariush at least won 2 rounds, definitely.
Yep.
And he may have won 3.
Yeah.
But he at least won 2.
Yeah.
So how can you give Ferreira the win?
Yeah. Completely agree.
I didn't understand that at all.
Yeah. I'm trying to think on the fly here, but who would you match him up with next? Dariush? I'm trying to think of the names outside the top 5. You've got, just off the top of my head, RDA, Felder, Dan Hooker. Any of those?
Dariush Hooker would be a good fight.
Will be good. Because they both come to, again, both throw down.
Yeah.
Obviously,
the Cowboys already matched up with Sanchez.
Both quite big for the weight division as well.
Yeah, you've probably said the name. Makachev.
Oh, God, yeah.
But he'll probably be below Dariush now.
Probably will be now,
inactivity.
Yeah. He's matched up, is he, with Drew Dober?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Who knows?
Probably an RDA.
Yeah.
RDA. I'd like to see Hooker.
Felder, Hooker.
Just because of the stand and bang.
Be amazing, wouldn't
pretty
it?
good.
That'd be a great fight, because they both come to scrap. And then quickly before we end on this, I guess we've got to mention Molly McCann. She didn't get the win. It's a mad one, because we were texting throughout, and for me, she doesn't, at the minute, she doesn't have that raw talent and skill to compete at the top of the division. But she does look incrementally better every time we see her.
Yeah.
She was in there with her BJJ black belt, and she nearly armbarred her. Again, you speak too soon. I texted you, didn't I? Literally the words of like, she's just not at the right level.
Yeah.
As I sent the text message,
Armbar.
caught that armbar, and I was like, oh, maybe not.
Yeah.
She didn't get the win, but no, she looked incrementally better, and I think she's young. Yeah, she's 30 years old.
Yeah.
She's not. She still brings eyes. She brings a personality. She's game every fight. You don't see her in a boring fight, do you? She's always moving forward. The UFC like to see that. They ain't going to cut someone like that.
She's
Got personality. They're going to keep working with her, I think, and keep again. If you see her getting better and she's continually pushing forward, they'll keep giving her chances because they need to fill. The divisions aren't like stacked, are they? It's not like some of the male divisions.
And I mean, not to say that she only gets it on nationality, but in a non-COVID world that we live in, those types of fighters like your Molly McCanns and those like UK, they always like to have those like when the card comes to the UK, they're always them.
You need the stars, don't you?
Brad Pickett did it for years.
Yeah.
Just them names that you go, Tom Brady, you know it.
Yeah. Just stick around. We'll do a card in London.
Liverpool, you know it.
Yeah.
So I think she's not done.
No.
She's getting better, but she's just not at
that level. And she might never get to that level.
No.
But she might, have a good, strong career.
Yeah.
In that division.
Yeah.
And there's no shame in that, is there?
No.
You stick around there and just keep competing, keep working. Who knows where it can take you? She's got the grit, she's got the determination. For me, it's the skill level.
Yeah.
It's got to get to it. It's got to get. Yeah. It's got to improve to get anywhere. But
yeah, I agree.
Good on her. Any other business in the world of fight sports? I thought this morning it got announced that Johnny Walker's dropped out of the. Oh no, he's injured. He's not. He's pulled out of the fight with Jimmy Crute. We always keep an eye on Jimmy Crute, being a Melbourne boy. He's now been matched up with Anthony Smith, which I think it's arguably a tougher fight in terms of experience. Yeah. But it's great for Jimmy Crute. If he can get a win there, it's a much bigger name than Johnny Walker to put on your resume. Mm-hmm. That puts you right in within that top 10 mix of the light heavyweights, eh?
Yeah, 100%. And I think from memory, in Jimmy Crute's last fight, Anthony Smith's last fight, I'm pretty sure Jimmy Crute called for that on Twitter.
Yeah, he did.
And I was like, no chance, man.
Yeah.
But then, so for me, great. Yeah, what do I know? So great matchup. In my opinion, I don't think there's anything to gain from Anthony Smith in this one.
No, not at all.
And it's very dangerous. And fair play to Anthony, and similar to Jimmy Crute.
How did Anthony Smith go in his last fight?
It was impressive.
Who did he fight?
It was
because for him it was a must-win fight, wasn't it? He'd come off a few.
He lost to Rakic and he lost to Glover.
Yeah, Glover. Yeah, sorry.
And then he bounced back.
Who did he beat?
Against wasn't Santos Reyes?
No, he's fighting
Santos.
Junior
Thiago Santos off his injury.
Thiago Santos, yes, he beat Thiago Santos, yes. Yeah, good win. Which is huge if Jimmy Crute can get a win here. He's got the powerful hands, hasn't he? And he's got kind of that. He's got the strength. He's got the kind of the wrestling, grappling base. But we know how dangerous Anthony Smith can be if the right Anthony Smith turns up. He's a demon on the ground. I think that you got the submission win, didn't he, against Santos? I think that's what it was. But I'm interested for this one. I'm not sure when it is. I think it's in Feb sometime. It's pretty soon.
Right, okay.
I think it might be the end of the month. And then Bellator, kind of moving away from the UFC, but Bellator have announced this mad big tournament thing, and one of the highlights of that is Anthony Rumble Johnson fighting Yoel Romero. Oh, Jesus. Someone needs to reinforce that cage because these are two big blokes who throw bombs. Again, we've not seen either of them fight. We've not seen Rumble fight for years.
Yeah.
He'd retired, hadn't he? And
retired to set up a weed business.
How's that going?
Yeah. Profits are high.
Very nice. And Romero fell out of the UFC for me because he wasn't entertaining, because he never pulled the trigger. But we know that
was on age. Entertainment, a formula of age, entertainment, and money.
This is a typical one of those, falling out of favour of the UFC, but we'll give you fights and some money in Bellator. Lesser organisation, doesn't really mean much, but it's big veteran names that people may or may not tune in for.
Yeah, I wish this was still under the UFC banner.
You could have sold this under the UFC banner if you. I don't know why, because there was rumours that Johnson was going to sign, wasn't he?
In the testing pool and everything.
He obviously wasn't either getting the money or not getting the match.
Bellator would have just threw money, sponsors, and I wish this was, put it this way, I wish it was co-main for this weekend.
Yeah.
No disrespect to the girls, but
you absolutely could have. Absolutely, yeah. So I'm not sure when this is. I think it's much later in the year, but I thought it was just worth mentioning.
And they've signed a deal with Showcase as well, Bellator.
Have they? I missed that one. Okay.
Because it was a big announcement.
I saw that with the tournament. I didn't see anything about Showcase.
And then they mentioned a deal with Showcase, which is interesting.
Good on them.
Or Showtime, sorry, not Showtime. Yeah, Showtime. That's the boxing.
Showcase in the cinemas, aren't they?
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Happy days.
Got cinema on the brain. Showtime.
Showtime.
And one thing, if we're going any other business, we were both right. Paige Van Zandt losing, which was not a surprise for both of us.
No. But yeah, we didn't think that would go well for her. To be fair, she didn't get as cut up as I thought she might.
No.
I don't know the standard of the girl that she fought. I do know that she was an absolute nutter.
Yeah, she's a nutter.
I think Paige will continue to fight though. She hasn't taken much damage. Again, you shouldn't, count your chickens in this game. You shouldn't get too overconfident now and think, this is fine. She's obviously getting bank from this and she's competing. Good on her. But I think you're realising the level of her now. She's come out of the UFC. She isn't winning these bare knuckle boxing fights. She even threw a cheeky knee apparently in there, which is what it is. Who knows? We'll see who else she gets matched up with there. I don't know if there's any other names or anything that's interesting, but I believe she signed like a 5-fight deal with them. So I just hope her face lasts 5 fights in bare knuckle boxing. Yeah. Who knows? Good luck to her. Yeah. It's about that time. We probably need to start talking about football. Yeah, we'll keep this brief, eh? We'll start with United because you played this morning. A dull affair. Yeah. 1-0 win, FA Cup, West Ham.
Yep.
I will mention that we beat them 3-1 a couple of days ago. Anyway.
Yeah. And we needed extra time to beat them.
Oh, did you? I didn't see that. There you go.
So, yeah.
I saw on the BBC News they were like praising Ollie for his mentality, or he was praising United for the mentality, or bouncing back from the draw or whatever. Over-egging that one, wasn't he?
Yeah, over-egging.
You play a full side?
Bruno on the bench, Cavani on the bench.
So no.
McTominay on the bench. But we still went with Martial. Again, I put it back. Martial's obviously got naked pictures of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in a Man City jersey probably somewhere. Can that be naked? Anyway, Martial. We went with Martial, Rashford, Greenwood. Donny van de Beek
got a game.
He got took off though, and honestly,
Has he played 90 minutes yet? At all?
Oh no.
Jesus.
It must have been. Maybe we have to pay extra money if he plays 90 minutes.
Yeah, there's some kind of bonus scheme here. Just not playing until this runs out.
Your heart breaks for the lad because you should have seen his react
when he got took off.
It was 0-0, and then it got to like 65 minutes, maybe 70 minutes. Next minute, Bruno's getting warm. So you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Bud comes up, Van der Beek, and he just looks and he's like, and then like.
What was his interaction with Ollie as he went off?
Just head down and he's just a nice guy. Just head down and But yeah, so we played a strong side. West Ham, which you'd expect, part of the bus really. Yep. They 10 men behind the ball, wanted to make it hard for us to break down. When really,
gotta go for it, and in the FA Cup fifth round, it's not like
exactly.
Go for it. Do you want to be?
You lose 4-0, you lose 1-0, you're out the FA Cup.
And they're playing all right, aren't they? As well. Exactly. They could have had a crack at that.
Exactly. And we was having a debate this morning on our WhatsApp group, and it was, like Cresswell, Kufal, fullbacks. They're the type of team where just get wide and whip it and cross it.
Yeah.
And they played like Yarmolenko up front, he's not the best really against over Antonio, but it's like do something else, like do 4-4-2.
But does that play into your hands though?
Well,
because I always tell teams to do that. Stop parking the bus being boring, but it's because
that's the thing. That's the thing. But we had enough capable talent on that pitch to get the job done. It was just not creating much. It was just a drab affair. And then the most interesting thing is there was a concussion.
All right.
West Ham player Diop got concussed, did a sub, which means that the other team also gets a substitution in the new concussion rules.
All right.
So as of the weekend at the Premier League, you can now have 4 substitutes in a game.
If one of them's concussion,
and so does the other team.
So they get equal.
Because it's equal. So that happened, but in the FA Cup this year, I think, I think there's also a rule that you're allowed 1 extra sub in extra time.
No way.
So there was actually 5 subs in this game. So, like Bruno came on, McTominay came on, Cavani came on.
Yep.
And then in extra time, we swapped the fullbacks. So Shaw came on over Tellez, and Brandon Williams came on for Wan-Bissaka. And it was Scott McTominay that got a good goal.
Yeah.
Bit of lack of concentration from Rice. I think he gave the ball away. And McTominay got the win. And not good, but we're through to the next round. That's important.
Job done, and he's got the win.
And like I've said every week on this podcast, all he needs is a trophy. So keep going.
Yeah, right. It's interesting you said about the subs. I didn't realise that, but I was going to ask you. You didn't need extra time there. No one needs extra time now, but I guess you've got to. You've rested a few legs by making those extra subs. So happy days. And
it's no coincidence that the tempo was raised and when Bruno came on.
Yeah, right. It makes all the difference.
Just shows you.
Well, speaking of Bruno, a beautiful goal at the weekend. I watched the first half of the Everton game and turned it off because you were utterly dominant. 2 brilliant goals, 2-0 up. Seemed to be cruising. I was just like, I'm not watching this. Check back on the app, an hour later. It was 2-all. It was 2-all. 2-all. It went 2-all, went 3-2. And they got the big DCL with his last minute winner. Did me a world of good in fantasy football. But was it? Did your performance drop in that second half? Or was it silly mistakes? What cost you there? Because you were so dominant. I couldn't see it going any other way apart. I was like, it's not going to be another bloody 9-0 this. Yeah. Just the way it was going. Yeah. It was so easy for you in the first half.
Two reasons.
Yeah.
David De Gea.
Yeah.
And Harry Maguire.
Right. We've heard those reasons before this season, haven't we?
I've realised that they do not complement each other at all.
Right.
At all. They're just so passive and soft. They're soft.
That's mad that we would never have said that about De Gea a couple of years ago. He's the best keeper in the world at one point, wasn't he?
But it's just like... So, obviously, we're cruising 2-0. Great. Obviously, Ancelotti said... I don't know what he said at half-time to get them up and going. They come out the traps, and then DCL crosses the ball in. David De Gea with the simplest of... easily the more simplest of catch or whatever, palms it straight into Decore, 1-0. And it's like, great. Then 3 minutes later, Everton are on the attack again. Nobody picking up James on the head, letting James walk into the box. Again, defenders rubbish. No one picking. Maybe it's Fred, probably Fred's man that he lets go.
Yep.
James slots it in. So, right, 2-2. But I think it's because the goals happened so quick, after like 3 minutes after half-time. Confidence went down. That was a big error from David De Gea.
Yep.
Just the confidence dropped. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said after the game, you know, we kept going to the end and attacking, and we had 1 or 2 chances. So, and then we get the third goal through Scott McTominay again. And we only really scored because the Everton goalie kind of slipped a little bit, kind of diving for the ball off a set piece. So, it was, you know... And then, but Ollie said after the game, that was surprising. He's like, you know, we carried on playing till the last minute. No, you didn't, mate. No, you didn't. As soon as it was 80 minutes on the clock, it was waste time, pass it around. Axel Tanzebi came on in the 92nd minute, who's a centre-back. Oh, he's telling me you're going for it, mate.
Yeah,
you're shutting up shop.
Yeah, right.
And then it was Axel Tanzebi that gave the free kick away, which then resulted into a cross into the box. Harry Maguire... playing 5 Everton players onside when the rest of the team are in their line.
Do you think is that fatigue? Is it just loss of concentration through fatigue at the end of the game, or is he just a dope?
I just think he's
times?
dumb. I think he really is a dumb bloke. And me and my boss were speaking about this.
Yeah.
And he was talking about Harry Maguire, and he goes, "I just think he's a dumb bloke." And I said, "What makes you say that?" He said, "This guy went to Mykonos in Greece. He got arrested by police." Right. Most people would hold their hands up and go, "I was out of order. My behaviour was, not what it was. It's a really tough job being a police officer. I'm really, really sorry, and I just want to go home to my family, and it won't happen again. And I love Greece and such a thing."
I love Greece.
But no, he didn't do that. He was still in police custody, and he's like, "This is a joke. This, these are rubbish. These, I've done nothing." And it's like, who does that?
Yeah, true.
You play the game, mate. Yeah. Even if you're at fault. You admit, and you just cut your losses and you go. You don't moan in police. So I just don't think he's smart. I just don't think he's smart. So it was a lack of concentration. Playing 5 players on side, the ball drops, and David De Gea. You're on 300 grand a week, mate. Break your nose for the team, will you? Come out.
Yeah.
Schmeichel would have. Van der Sar would have.
Put yourself about a bit.
As soon as the ball dropped in that 6-yard box and DCL's just about to pounce, you're on him straight away. You smother it. And it might go elsewhere, it might bounce funny. That's somebody else's job.
Yeah, you've done
but
your
you've got
job,
to smother it.
Yeah.
And he didn't do that. And Maguire and David De Gea don't go for it. They're too passive. They're too nice. Eric Bailly would have done that. Nemanja Vidic would have done that. Gary Pallister, Steve Bruce, Rio Ferdinand, Gary Neville. They would have put the life on the line to stop a goal.
Yeah.
And you've got David De Gea, last minute of the game, an important game, not jumping on DCL, turning away at the shot and not big. And it goes in. And like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's not friendly.
It's
not a game. It's not a game then.
And you think has he just checked out a little bit of like,
I just think he's so.
Doesn't mean
I think that first error, his confidence was so down, and he's been a bit shaky anyway for a couple of years. And I just think he's not. I just think he's not up to it.
Yeah,
I really just don't think he's not.
Well, now who played this morning?
Dean Henderson.
And you think he's in the team now? He'll get a run.
The problem is, we saw a rumour on Twitter saying this is kind of Dean Henderson's audition. He puts on a masterclass against West Ham, and he's in the team at the weekend.
Yeah.
He had nothing to do today because West Ham made it a drab affair.
Why'd you give him another goal though?
I would, yeah. Why not? You're only as good as your last game.
Well, you just used the words. He's been shaky for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I think surely someone, Yes.
Romero?
Yeah.
Get Romero in?
Yeah.
Romero would have... I tell you what, Sergio Romero would have broke his nose for the team.
Well, that's what you want to change now, because you want someone like Henderson who's playing for his place, who will put his body on the line, won't he?
Do it.
That's what you need.
Look what happened to Luke Shaw.
Yeah.
Luke Shaw's been dross for 2 years. We signed Alex Telles, and he goes, better
in the gym, put them burgers down.
Better get going. Better set up some goals.
You need that sometimes, don't you?
So now we have competition.
Yeah.
But we've always had competition with Sergio Romero, but for some reason, he's always been classed as not the second keeper. Argentinian number 1, mate. He's not rubbish.
It's true.
We're not loaning him out to Hearts of Midlothian. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's just as good. And essentially, Romero complements Maguire better. Because Maguire will leave the ball, where Romero's more of a sweeper keeper.
Yeah.
Because De Gea stays on his line as well. So if you're
a massive gap here.
So that's what. So if you Maguire, you're going to tackle him, mate.
One of you.
Yeah. It's difficult outside. Dave's got it. And he goes, no, Harry's got it. And both of them just don't do anything.
Yeah.
Whereas Romero, comes out probably too much. But I'd rather that. So for me to summarise, get Dean Henderson in. And he's only out till he mucks up. If he has an error like De Gea did at the weekend, and he's at fault for 2 goals, he's got 2 mistakes in him now.
Yeah.
He's allowed 2 mistakes till he's out the team again.
Yeah.
So don't muck up.
Enough. And then you're going away, aren't you, to West Brom. Now, my thought about this for you guys was, we shouldn't be overcritical. You're second in the league.
Yeah, I know.
And it's the same with Liverpool. You can be overcritical, but if we beat Leicester the weekend, we're up to 3rd. But we've both had banana skins against these lower. You were in great form and then slid up against Sheffield United, didn't you? Do you see West Brom as another potential banana skin, or is this, business as usual? Should be 3 points in the bag.
I'd say Arsenal was a banana skin as well.
Yeah,
because they ain't good. Arsenal's not good.
No.
And this West Brom's a good game to bounce back to, of course, where they are in the league. I know Big Sam's going to make it difficult, similar to this morning.
Another part of the bus job.
Yeah. But my worry is, if David De Gea plays, route 1 football, that ball in behind long that Maguire's going to leave. Yeah. And De Gea won't come out.
There's a blueprint there, isn't there? So let's just put these two in a position where they're going to run into each other.
And what I've noticed this season, and again, I'm not bagging. Well, I am bagging Maguire and De Gea. We're rubbish at set pieces.
You're allowed to do it. It's all right, mate.
We're rubbish at set pieces. Why is that? Why are we rubbish at set pieces? Yeah. Maguire's not dominant enough. Your club captain, mate.
He's just mad because he's the captain. Yeah.
Play the game. David De Gea, you stay on your line and get bullied.
Yeah.
Probably in the 80s and stuff like that. No doubt, you see footage. The ball in the air, the keeper's coming out with the punch. He'll punch the ball, and he's also giving you one of them as well.
Straight into your back
Smart.
or something.
He's playing the game.
Yeah.
Sergio Ramos, dislocating Salazar. He's playing the game.
Yeah,
He's playing the game. You can't penalise him for that. He did the tackle.
Put himself about,
but
isn't he?
He knows that keeping Salah's arm there.
Yeah.
Pepe, Real Madrid, plays the game.
Yep.
When he was at Real Madrid, played the game.
If you're going to be a big imposing centre back, which Maguire's built like, you can't just look like one, can you?
But he's he's too nice.
Yeah, been in prison as well. Yeah, you think you maybe toughen him up a bit,
exactly. Do you know what I mean? I thought I was coming out with face tattoos, but Maguire in the opposite box wins every header and puts it wide every time. Every time. So do it the other way. Head it out for another corner if you want.
Yeah, put it wherever you want. Just get your head on it.
Or maybe that's what it is. Aim for an own goal and you'll put it wide. Maybe that's what the secret is. So my fear is if Dean Henderson is perfect to play for West Brom because he's got a bit about him and he'll, David De Gea, he'll cower on his line.
Yeah.
And Sam Allardyce will play 4 centre-backs, all these tall lads. And like he did against Liverpool, 80th minute, he's just waiting for that one corner and nick the goal.
Yeah, right. Well, there's that famous saying, isn't there? Nothing changes if nothing changes. And, you're going to keep seeing the same scenario play out unless you make a change at the back there. It's got to be the keeper, hasn't it, for starters, I think.
Exactly. And I'd drop Maguire. Give Bruno captaincy, because he is a captain. He's a leader, by the way.
Yeah. Big move, that, but...
Yeah. And put Eric Bailly in. What's up with Bailly? He played sensational for about 4 games in a row, and now he's out of the team because of Lindelof. And it's like, why is
played against us, didn't he?
Yeah. Why is Maguire the lock in this?
Yeah.
Because Lindelof, I would argue, did all right against Everton, but Maguire's dragging him down.
Yeah.
And similar. So Maguire played again. It was West Ham. Give him rest. He needs a rest.
Yeah.
Put Bailly in. So and this is the thing with Solskjaer. It's all well and good laughing it off, because they asked him about who's league gone. He's like, and he's like, we was never in the league title. Like, we're not talking about league title. It's like, mate,
that's what we want to hear.
It's like, you've got this. Jurgen Klopp would win the Premier League this season with Man United's squad. Yeah. That's a fact.
Yeah,
that's a fact. We have got a squad to compete.
Yeah.
So you don't laugh it off, mate, and go, we're closing the gap. It's like,
that's a mentality thing, isn't it, that people keep mentioning?
Liverpool's got no centre-backs. City's got no strikers. De Bruyne and Aguero's out. So stop playing Martial. Stop playing Martial every game, thinking you're there to compete, and stop playing Maguire, and stop playing De Gea. Yeah. And then we'll see if we're in the title picture. Mad, isn't it? Because we should be there. We should be there.
It's like he's almost handicapping himself to not put the pressure on, like, we're not ready yet. But it's like, could be.
You could be. Yeah. But this is the thing. Gary Neville said it this midweek. It's all well and good, and they could really do some things this season because he has to win a trophy.
Yeah, he does. He does.
If Solskjaer got sacked at the end of the year, the board, not said they would, but people would hold hands up and go, "You didn't win anything, and you've not." So
you've had a chance.
Yeah,
you've had a good squad.
And this is the thing what Neville said. It's all well and good saying, "Oh well, we'll write it off. We're not ready," but you have to next year. Because if you're not ready now, you need 2 or 3 players in.
Yeah.
So what you're saying now is, oh well, next year's the one. Well, it better be next year.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gone.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we went long on United there, which means we can breeze over Liverpool, can't we?
So tell me about your week.
Well, we're talking goalkeepers as well, and I don't like throwing goalkeepers under the bus, especially someone like Alisson, who's
with his cold feet,
arguably the best goalkeeper in the world, arguably one of the best. Anyway, just had a bit of a shocker, didn't he? He was out. He missed the previous game. He was ill. I'm assuming he had COVID. No one said out, but I'm assuming he had COVID. I think he's probably been rushed back in there. I don't know. It's one of those unexplainable things, the fact that he did it. And the maddest thing was that literally a couple of minutes later, Genie pings that ball to his feet, and you're just like, why are you doing that? Don't put him in a position where you're asking for trouble here.
Yeah.
He did exactly the same thing again. And it was just, not that we were going on to win that game. We might have, but we were in the game at 1-1, weren't we?
Yeah.
And once that happened, our heads went, the engine went. The big problem for Liverpool at the minute is that engine. The way we beat City over the last couple of years, especially the games at Anfield, was we outran them. We ran them into the ground and picked them off when they were goosed. We haven't got a midfield engine, mainly because our 2 best midfielders are playing at centre-back at the minute. And you've had people like Genie, Thiago who've played, and who else played? Oh, Curtis Jones played pretty well, actually, I thought. But Genie and Thiago goosed. They're absolutely goosed.
And Jones was the one that was hooked.
Yeah, which didn't make any sense to me. He was hooked. He went off for Shaqiri, didn't he? He offered nothing when he came on. It just wasn't the game for him, really. There's not a lot more to say, is there, really? But we know, I think it's all catching up with us. It's all the whole centre-backs, people playing out of position. We just look goosed and out of ideas. And it's a shame because we've completely out of gas. We saw the resurgence. We played really well against West Ham. But we aren't able to sustain it. And for me, I think the league title, barring some mad cock-up from Man City falling to bits, that league title's gone now. Not that we can't go... We've got the squad there to go ahead and win every single game for the rest of the season, but I just don't think we're consistent enough. I don't think with our current squad, we're going to be able to stick those results. We'd have to win every single game. I don't think that's going to happen. My hope for this weekend, is another tough game, but I'm hoping we'll now get to see one of these centre-backs come in, probably Kabak. It's probably too soon, way sooner than Klopp would have liked, because as we know, he doesn't generally throw players in, does he? He works with them first, gets them up to speed. But I suppose this is a team that, it's not a normal Liverpool team, is it? So get up to speed doesn't really matter, because we're not playing exactly the way we normally would. Getting one of them in there, whether it's Davis or whether it's Kabak, I'm assuming Kabak, the thing it does is free up a midfielder. It frees up Fabinho or Henderson into the midfield, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Which is what we want. It's what we need. We need one of them back in midfield.
I think it was very funny that, it's like 4-1 down and you decide to hook Robertson on the 88th minute. The Greek guy, he must turn to the bench and Klopp goes, right, you're on. And he goes, what, me? And he's like, yeah.
Do you even know my name?
Yeah, it's like, show us what you can do. Number. Show us what you can do at 4-1 down.
Does this thing have 3 digits on it? Can we put this on 3 digits on the board?
So show us what you can do at 4-1 down, mate.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, I think I've heard a lot of people talk about this, but I think we don't often make mistakes in the transfer window, but I'm not sure that Tsimikas, I don't know why we bought him. Yeah. Maybe we thought that we wouldn't get as much out of Robbo as we have, but he seems completely... we needed centre-backs, didn't we? And we bought a full-back there that's just never going to play.
And I remember saying to you, I don't know what episode it was, and it was we did the pod the day that you sold Dejan Lovren.
Yeah.
And we both said, you're thin.
Yeah.
You're thin.
Yeah.
Thin. You'd love Lovren back.
Oh, now. Yeah. That's exactly what we needed, eh? And, we couldn't have bloody predicted what would happen. It's a freak season, isn't it? You lose your 2 best centre-backs. You lose your 3 first-choice centre-backs. But we knew we were going to be light when we got rid of him, and we got him out. We got Tsimikas in. Yeah. Tsimikas hasn't had a sniff, has he? you almost can, not that we should be bothered, but you're concerned for people like Tsimikas. He's spending these years that are important in his career sitting on Liverpool's bench, having no sniff of getting on. He's not up to a standard, is he? I don't think he doesn't at this point get anywhere near Robertson or complement the way we're going to play, and he's not versatile as him. He can go somewhere else. Yeah, you can't help us out anywhere.
And it's a bit like Van der Beek syndrome, and it's a bit like, I always put it back to this analogy of the Ryan Babel syndrome.
Yeah.
When Ryan Babel was at Liverpool under Benitez, he plays once every 6 games, 7 games, and it's maybe not a great game, and then he's dropped again. It's like, how do you expect me to play well for 1 game when I'm out for 7? Yeah. And what, now I've got to play well, have I?
It's a bit like Origi as well. He does the same thing.
I've got to get a hat-trick, have I?
Yeah, it comes on in 80 minutes every other week, and it's like, I'm never going to... and that's his role at Liverpool now, unfortunately. And obviously he's not going to get any of the front 3 out of the team. But, what do you want me to do? Yeah. You can't be shaking your head and saying I'm below par. Well, I'm getting 5 minutes here and there. Like, what do you want me to do?
Now, please admit to everyone that wasn't a penalty, that Salah.
I'd give it.
Was it?
No.
So it was a bit...
I'd take it. He did go down. He did go down a bit. You get those ones, don't you, now? If you feel that contact, you're going down. I've seen worse. So...
Or actually, no, 2 words to summarise the Liverpool game, because he needs a mention. Phil Foden.
I was just going to say the same thing. As much as, we didn't play well, the result was what it was, but I think you've got to give a bit of credence there to Sterling and Foden. Both played really well. They look, brilliant players. Got to say hat off to that City team, as well. They're capitalising when everyone else has fallen to bits.
Diaz is massive.
He's made a big difference for them, hasn't he? Really, really big difference. Yeah, unfortunately, and I keep saying it, you got to take your hat off to them. They've pulled themselves together here at a time when people had almost written them off earlier in the season, and they've peaked at the right time. I mean, they've made that difference. The key players that they've got are playing really well, which is where probably we're slipping down a little bit. Yes, we're decimated, but the lads that you want to step up haven't grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck consistently, which is where you like your Foden and your Sterling, your Diaz. They're dragging an also bedraggled City team to where they are in the league now, and it feels like a bit of an unassailable lead. And that that leads on looking ahead for Liverpool with the early kickoff on Saturday. Leicester away, I think it's away, and it's another tough game. Like I said, I hope we see the centre back come in, which will shore up the midfield a little bit.
Vardy's back now as well. He came on in the Vardy's back.
Yeah, he plays well against us as well, generally.
In behind, if you're playing any slow lads.
Well, it's a big test for this Kabak. He comes in. We've been looking at him for a while. He's not just a stopgap that we brought in. He's a good young player, but it's a baptism by fire, isn't it?
You can't have Nat Phillips against Vardy.
No, absolutely no. Oh, Jesus Christ, spent half the game on his arse when he's trying to turn around. Yeah. No, I think it'll be one of Fabinho and Henderson, probably with Kabak. I would have thought, and then the other one goes into midfield. I don't know which way round he does it. I don't think it really matters. I think one of them's just got to get into midfield. Personally, I think I'd like to see Fabinho back in midfield and keep Henderson at the back, but I'm not sure. I think it probably is the other way. I think he'll probably keep Fabinho at the back. Henderson goes back to midfield, which, again, there's no probably right answer there. I think Fabinho gives you protection. Henderson gives you engine and creativity going forward. Depends what Klopp thinks we need most. Don't know. It's a must-win game, though. And, I keep saying it's all doom and gloom. United slipping up here, but you're still in second. If we win, we're still back up to third. If results go our way, I think. So it's not, it's not the end of the world at the minute. But what Liverpool need to do now, it's top 4, isn't it? You've got to get top 4. So you've got to start putting results together consistently, week in, week out, putting these wins on the board. You can't keep winning one week, losing the next week.
Exactly.
We've got tough games coming up. We've got the derby next weekend, which again is huge. Everton, also a little bit up and down, but we've got results against you. We'd bloody love to turn Liverpool over now. After it's been a long time for them. They'll be smelling blood in the water. We've also got the Champions League game midweek, which again is huge because if we're not going to have success in the league this year, we've probably got to have a crack in Europe. And I think we're probably hampered by the lack of a crowd in Europe. It's really going to come down to what we can do on the pitch, and Leipzig are a good side.
Yeah, I would not rule them out.
No, we.
They qualified above us.
No, they're a good. They're a good
Side.
side. They are a good side, and on our day, I would say we're the better side on paper, but it's if we can put it all together. In Europe with crowds, you would back Liverpool at the minute. I'm like, I just don't know. It's got to come together on the night, like it did at West Ham. We can put these performances together. It's just got to come together on the night, and yeah, I'm a little bit concerned. Who knows how this goes? I think if we don't get results at Leicester, heads down again. That midweek game away in Budapest, wherever it is going to be tough for Liverpool, and then you've got to rebound and go to Everton. Tough. But if we beat Leicester, if the centre-back partnership starts to work out, we're starting to look up again, and you've got reason to be positive. I just think the inconsistency throws me off at the minute. I don't know what Liverpool's going to turn up. I have no idea.
Well, Kabak should know Leipzig, being in the German league. He should know.
Yeah. He'll have a bit of insight, won't he? And that might.
Yeah. You'd like to think. So he might be the shoe-in centre-back for that game.
Yeah, it has to be. We've just got to sort that midfield out now because we've run out of steam. We're massive, and that's not surprising. I think the players. One thing I'd say throughout the whole period, and I've said this before, I can't criticise anyone for lack of effort.
Yeah.
We have given it all. We're just on our bare bones at times, and at this level, competing against teams of the standard of City, you can't be anything above fucking 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
If you're not good enough, are you?
No.
And that's what happened the other day against City. If you're not on your game, if you make mistakes, if you run out of steam, City are going to run all over you. And that's what they did. They made it look easy. And on that note, that very sombre note, we'll end it for this week.
Yeah.
As always, if you've liked the show, if you've enjoyed it, hit the like, tell your mates, hit subscribe so you don't miss anything for the future. And cheers, Grant.
Yeah, cheers, man.
Have a good weekend, and you on a Bendigo, aren't you?
Bendigo, up Melbourne United, top of the ladder, 5 zip at the moment.
Yep.
But we're playing in 10 minutes, and I think we're going to get beat. Anyway.
On that even sombre note,
let's raise the mood. But thanks for tuning in, guys. And as Matt said, like, share, tell your friends, and gamble responsibly, as always. Don't bet your bus fare.